Hey guys, welcome. This is Mr. Hardcore Mode where nothing's easy with another hard rant. This one for, I believe IGN just put up a little video about Resident Evil 5 being a rewrite instead of a remake. I don't know why, but I've been hearing that I should listen to this and react to it. So I guess here we're gonna go. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and do it. Fuck it, we'll do it live. Resident Evil game that can't be remade, which is weird because they can do whatever the fuck they want. They're Capcom. They can make whatever remake they want.
Was released last year, Capcom's project to remake the glory years of its survival horror series is complete. But as the game's post-credit scene suggests, the remakes aren't over. And so the big question is, where next? The obvious answer is a remake of Resident Evil 5.
I remember this. Resident Evil 5 took place in Africa, and it's with Chris Redfield and one police lady, one black lady. She's pretty cool. She's pretty hot, but oh no, I have an idea. What's about that.
On the game's 15th anniversary, it's clear that moving forward chronologically will take Capcom's remakes into the series' weakest era, an era of gameplay and narrative decisions best left in the past.
You don't know shit. You're just a game journalist. They can do whatever the hell they want. If they want to do a remake of Resident Evil 5, they can do whatever the hell they want. Who are you? You're nobody. Capcom can make whatever the game they want. You can do whatever journalism you want.
Resident Evil 5 simply can't be remade. At least...
Yes, it can. Yes, it can.
Not to the standards of Capcom's best work.
What? How would... You're just a game journalist. That's it. All you do is just get on your little notepad and do that. I mean, first of all, let's keep it a stack, okay, IGN? Let's keep it a stack. All right? Capcom do what it can keep on going the extra level. And Capcom has always done that. Monster Hunter, Street Fighter, Resident Evil. They keep on bringing out banger after banger. Devil May Cry. They keep on doing it. We know that they're capable of bringing banger after banger because we've seen it in the numbers, we've seen it in the gameplay, and we've seen it in their storytelling. We are 100% sure that Resident Evil 5 will be just as good as the others. Of course, some people like Resident Evil 2, 3, 4. It depends on the person. I would like to see Resident Evil 5 as a remake because I remember that one vividly, especially the story. Now, IGN, you remember what you noticed that your glory days are over, right? Do you notice that? See, that's different. We know Capcom's making bangers after banger, and they can keep on making bangers. Now, IGN, can you do that? Can you reach that plateau like Capcom is? I don't think so.
And so the answer is not to remake, but to rewrite.
You wouldn't know anything. The answer is not to rewrite. The answer is for Capcom to do whatever the heck they want. It's just his opinion. It's a stupid opinion, but you know, we're in America. Do your thing, man. Let's see what you got to say. Can't be remade. Matt Pearl slow. All right, Matt. All right, man. Let me see what you got.
Resident Evil is a survival horror series. Not that you'd know that playing Resident Evil 5. Sure, it features a constant flow of horrific imagery, but Resident Evil 5 is an action game through and through. That's evident in its cover shooter mechanics, vehicle chases with on-rails turret sequences, and the constant rattle of assault rifles. Even its visual design evokes the sandy shades of modern military games that experienced mass popularity in the late 2000s.
Yeah, we like that. Yeah, we like that. And it's also still a survival game. Yes, it's action. You are correct. You are correct. But we also like action, and we also like horror. What are you trying to say? Say you're right, and I believe you are right. That it's more action than it is horror. Good. Change it up a little bit. Resident Evil 2 has its horror elements. 3 has its horror elements. 4 has a little bit more action, but still has its horror elements. This one has more action, but still has some horror elements to it. That's fine, and people like that. Let people enjoy games.
It all speaks to a series that had lost its way, rather
No, it hasn't. It's only lost its way to you.
than reflect on the tenets that were the foundation of its experience. Resident Evil 5 looked to the contemporary gaming zeitgeist in an attempt to find a new lease of life. The result is an unholy hybrid of Resident Evil, Gears of War, and Call of Duty. It's as ugly and unwieldy as it sounds.
No, it's not. Only to you. This is your opinion. Your opinion's shitty and it's wrong. And I don't... But people like this. This shit was cool. I liked it. I played it like 3 times. I loved it.
This design appears to not just be a misguided attempt to follow Western successes, but also a misreading of its predecessor. With Resident Evil 4, director Shinji Mikami deftly reinvented the series through the use of a new over-the-shoulder camera angle. The perspective allowed for a more kinetic, action-heavy game. Despite this, Mikami never lost sight of the terror at the core of Resident Evil. Through the use of enemies that were strategically placed to provide undulating waves of tension and fear, and the inclusion of Ashley as your vulnerable charge, combat encounters were focused on surviving overwhelming horrors rather than dominating foes. Resident Evil 5, meanwhile, presents its enemies as waves to be gunned down with...
I like how he says that, and he literally just showed a video. He just showed definitive proof that it still has the over-the-shoulder thing. This person also has a charge with him that that you have to protect. You're Chris Redfield. You're literally doing the same thing. She has a gun and she could protect herself, but you also still have to protect her. So it's still the same thing. It's just that the lady's protecting herself. She's got her own gun, but you got to watch out for her too. And it's still got the over the shoulder sort of thing. Same game, different story.
increasingly powerful weaponry. Their purpose is cannon fodder, a wall of meat to slow your progress through levels. And those levels are not locations to be explored. Instead, they are largely funnels that push you from entrance to exit. Resident Evil 4 may have replaced the series' traditional...
He's right. With Resident Evil 5, you went from one place to another and the story kept on going. He's right about that. Still a good game. And also, they could change that formula. Gotta remember, this is Capcom. They've remade games and they came out bangers. They did. And they could change the formula. They could add to the formula.
Continuous structure with discrete levels in an attempt to move away from...
I like how he's probably a Capcom fan. Maybe he played Resident Evil 2 and 3 and 4 for maybe about 3 hours per. And he sounds like he's like trying to help out Capcom in some sort of way, when in actuality he's not really. Like he's you gotta kind of put a little faith on developers that actually don't want to do right by the player. I mean, fuck EA and fuck Ubisoft, but I think they want to do right by the player.
The backtracking heavy design of previous games, but it preserved the spirit of locations like the Raccoon City police station. The village, Salazar's castle, and the island feature interlocking explorable pathways that...
Also, you got to remember, there were some back and forth areas in Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4, but you still had to move forward. you still had to move forward, and sooner or later, you couldn't go back in certain areas. So I don't know what he means. Because he's referring to Resident Evil 5 as, oh, you got to keep on going straight. You got to keep on going straight. It's true. You did have to keep on going straight to complete the story. That's how stories are, finished. They also did that with Resident Evil 4. He's literally showing us that. You want to know the funny thing is? The place that he just showed was Resident Evil 4, and he showed all these different vistas that he assumes is like, yo, these places are bangers over Resident Evil 5's area. It's true. The Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4 had some pretty banger places. Raccoon City, Salazar's castle, and all that good stuff. It did. But you still had to move forward, and sooner or later, you couldn't go back to those previous spots.
Solidify these locations as authentic spaces rather than obstacle courses. Resident Evil 5 has no interest in this, with the majority of its stages being little more than corridors peppered with dead ends to hide treasures in. Their lack of authenticity means no one will ever mention the Kajuju Autonomous Zone in the same breath as the Spencer Mansion. All this is to say that a faithful remake of Resident Evil 5 would break Capcom's 7-year streak of brilliant survival horror games.
No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. People still like Resident Evil 5. Listen. At least add, in my opinion, I think it would kind of break the, he said, in my opinion, it would break their cycle of banger games coming out. First of all, you shouldn't say that. You really shouldn't. You could say whatever the fuck you want, but it's okay if they bring out a game and a lot of people enjoy it, but it's just not Resident Evil 2 numbers. It's not Resident Evil 4 numbers. Resident Evil 5 will come out and people will buy it and people will have fun. It's not gonna be this, well, it didn't make the level of fidelity like it did with the previous ones. So what? First of all, you gotta realize something. Capcom has done well so far, like you said, and they want to do right by Resident Evil 5. They're pretty much bringing out these remakes to show a newer audience what they have in stock, what they have in store. They want to keep on doing this so they not only give people good gameplay, but also a great story and a level of new different mechanics that they want to bring out to a larger audience. Because obviously these games came out, the older versions came out in my time. I'm 37 years old. But now it's 2024 and people want to try and play the newer version, the remakes. The older generation people will still play it, and the newer generation will give it a try. That's fine.
It's telling that the series' reset point, Resident Evil 7, was a reinvention of the very first game, a haunted house that grew ever larger as you unlocked new rooms by solving its puzzles. Clever reinventions of this base conceit is the key to Resident Evil's success, be that dropping an unstoppable force into the house's corridors, such as Resident Evil 2's Mr. X, or expanding the scope of the house. Resident Evil Village's titular location is effectively a giant manor. Its corridors are streets, and its rooms are houses. Resident Evil 5's stage-driven structure is simply inferior to this design. A modern recreation of it would only further highlight its flaws.
Actually, no, it wouldn't. Because you want to know what else is with Capcom? Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry 5 makes you keep on going forward. Devil May Cry has stages. Devil May Cry 5 has excellent gameplay. Devil May Cry 5 is loved by many people. And you still have to keep on moving forward. Now, remember this. Devil May Cry 5 stages are okay, but they're not all too grandiose. Devil May Cry 5, you're not focusing on the area too much. You're focusing on combos. You want to do your crazy ass combos with Dante, Virgil, Nero. You want to do your crazy combos in these stages in Devil May Cry 5. And you got to keep on going so you can fight bigger and better monsters and, you know, continue to expand your combos. You know, try to beat the game without getting hurt. Try to beat the game in Dante Must Die mode. Did that decrease in the way that you said? Did that decrease for anything with the level of sales? No, because that's all you're doing in Devil May Cry 5. But there's no crazy amount of stuff you're doing in the world of Devil May Cry 5. You're just going straight. You grab a couple of orbs, get new stuff, and then you're going to Pound Town, you know, with these demons. Pause, by the way. They can do that with what you think Capcom, Devil May Cry 5, Monster Hunter, Resident Evil staff, developers aren't talking to one another. They know how to coordinate, unlike IGN.
Especially coming in such close proximity to masterclasses like the remake of Resident Evil 2. Remakes can, of course, completely redefine the structure of their source material.
I remember those monsters. I remember that.
Fantasy VII Rebirth, for example, is recognisably an updated version of the classic RPG, but its world design and gameplay mechanics are a world apart from the 1997 original, and so you could argue that Resident Evil 5 is actually the Resident Evil most in need of a remake. A whole new environmental structure and scenario design that reins in the action and dials up the horror would bring it in line with Capcom's other remakes. But all
So you're saying, so you're in agreement with me, is basically what you're saying. So you knew, like like Final Fantasy VII, like you noticed that there was a big difference between Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Like there was a big difference, crazy difference. Hey, how you doing, Jojo? Hey, how you doing? You knew that there was a big difference. Okay. Then we're still gonna make that remake? We're gonna still make that remake.
All of this doesn't account for Resident Evil 5's most notorious problem: racism.
Okay, white savior, tell me how it is.
Set in a fictional West African country, Resident Evil 5's primary antagonists are black people. Yes, it's technically the Ouroboros virus that protagonist Chris Redfield is fighting, but the parasite's host is depicted as a nation of mobs and primitives who are violent even before their infection.
Yeah. There are dangerous places in Africa, just like there's dangerous places in America. This is your first time outside? What did you do before this whole video? What did you do? Oh, you went to go to get a latte? What's that? Did you read a couple of slavery books before you watch this? Yeah, there are nice places in Africa, and there are bad places in Africa. There are nice places in America. There are dangerous places in America. Come on, man, keep up. They let anybody yap nowadays.
Intentionally or not, Resident Evil 5 positions Africa as the Dark Continent.
No, you said that. You said that. You said that. Also, in the story Resident Evil 5, Albert Wesker decided to use Africa as a way to utilize this new virus. You want to know why? Because he knew that it would be cheap and easy. Get it away from Raccoon City. That Raccoon City, We did our time there. Time to get away from America for a little bit and try Portuguese. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold up. Hold up. Why didn't you say anything about Resident Evil 4? That's in Portuguese, right? That's in Portugal? You went to go save Ashley? Leon Kennedy? Why didn't you say anything about them? The Portuguese? The people that spoke a different language other than fucking American? Oh, now we're in Africa. Now you're doing me a favor about bringing up this whole conversation. You're doing me a favor? Fuck you, Matt.
Uncivilized world harboring a diseased population that needs gunning down via Western intervention in the name of global security.
You didn't say anything about Resident Evil 4. I'm waiting for you to bring up Resident Evil 4. See, you were saying banger after banger, right? So that's Resident Evil 2, Raccoon City. A lot of white people there. So I guess shooting white people in Raccoon City is a little bit easier for you. We got Resident Evil 3. We're shooting up white people again. It's a little bit easier on your soul. Resident Evil 4. Oh, we just forgot that this is not America. And we can shoot them. It's a little... you thought I was going to forget? Oh, now we're in Africa and we're shooting black people. See, you're the first one that brought that shit up, a little UK boy. You're the one that brought that up. I didn't bring that up. You did. I played the game, knew the situation was in dire need of shooting down some infected, and I beat Albert Wesker with a giant boulder. That's what I did for the African people. What, you want me to either die, or do you want me to leave the black people alone with the infected? Which one is it, Matt? Which one is it, IGN?
This insensitive treatment of people of color was hotly debated.
It's a video game. Grow the fuck up. It's time to stop being a hall monitor and wake the fuck up.
Even as early as Resident Evil 5's debut trailer, with writers such as Ngai Kroll and Stephen Totillo pointing out the game's uncomfortable post-colonial.
I don't care who those two people you just brought up. We're talking about you. I don't care. You're the only one that brought this shit up. Not me. Not me. You brought this shit up. You're gonna try to paint this whole picture of like, bro, I don't think the black community will. You'll say something where it's like a vast amount of people really wouldn't stand for this, when it's literally just like two people, you and who else? I don't what. You gotta have at least one friend, right?
Imagery. The arguments and think pieces continued well into the game's release window, with IGN's own former editor-in-chief Hillary Goldstein having also wrestled with the subject.
The video game industry, Hillary Goldstein. Anybody named Hillary Goldstein is a liberal. I'm sorry. Hillary Goldstein, I'm sorry. Listen, I'm obviously joking, but let's see what she has to say. This was back in 2012. Obviously, nobody remembers this little article because nobody cares. Okay, the video game industry has seen its share of controversy, almost all of which centers around sex and violence. Awesome. It's a rare thing for a game to be labeled as potentially racist, but that's what it's come to for Capcom's Resident Evil 5. Only to you, not to anybody else. The potty mouth of the main character... You said potty mouth. You said fucking potty mouth. You live with your fucking mom and you're 24 years old. I'm not reading this shit. You're not getting laid. Let's move on.
But that was 2009.
It was posted in February 10th of 2009. Back in the good old days. You think she's not single now? In 2024?
A time when race was apparently a debate rather than a reality.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we agreed on certain things. We realized that as a community, we realized in America, it's not about race. It's about hierarchies, you know, the wealthy, the poor, the rich, you know, the ones that are dying, the ones that are in poverty, the ones that are rich. We realized that we could come together because, hey man, I only got $5 in my bank account. Man, I only got fucking 50 cents in my bank account. You want to go hit up fucking 7-Eleven and get some Slim Jims? Hell yeah, man, let's go get some Slim Jims. Man, it's all cool, man. Boy, white boy, I like you, man. You appreciate the Slim Jim. Yeah, man, it's all good. It's all good, man. You never had this conversation, have you, IGN? You've never been broke before? Come on now. Come on now. You've been in the city too long? Have you painted your nails too much?
In the 2020s, in a post-Black Lives Matter world, there is
Black Lives Matter is shit. It is a cult. And it's all about money. They don't care about black people. You don't care about black people. Nobody cares about each other anymore. They only care about themselves. Especially you, IGN. You do that shit. Black lives fucking matter. Everybody knows right now that Black Lives Matter is a fucking cancer to the black community. Everybody knows this. IGN, keep it up. Come on, come on. Try to get on the same level of us, okay?
There's only one acceptable response to a white man shooting waves of Africans for an
You were bringing up the race, not me. You were bringing up the race, not me. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
entire video game.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So you mean to me, so that's what you saw, a white man shooting up some black people that were infected, right? That's what you saw. So let me get this straight. So if you say that a white man shooting black people is wrong, so your defense is probably going to be, and it's probably going to level with, it would be a lot better if a black person was shooting black people. Some black on black crime, is that what you want to agree on? So we still want to kill people. We still want to kill the black people. We just need a black person to kill the black people. Is that what you want to say? Is that what you want to say? I'm going to hold on to that.
No.
There is one thing I do know. I have a job to do, and I'm going to see it through.
Remakes may be able to redefine their source material, but there's only so many changes you can make until it's not a remake at all, but an entirely new game. And if you take Africa out of Resident Evil 5...
He still hasn't mentioned Resident Evil 4, where he's shooting up Portuguese people. Is it Portuguese? Spaniards? It's people that are not American. I like how this man is literally just saying, hey, you're shooting up black people and Portuguese people. Yeah, but the blacks are downtrodden, so you're not going to talk about the Portuguese people in Resident Evil 4? Oh, so you were okay with us shooting white people. Is that what you're saying? You little psychotic bitch? Because that's... I'm trying to reach you at the same fucking level.
Is it Resident Evil 5 anymore? Even with a vastly improved, more sensitive take on the continent, perhaps one with a black protagonist and a more empathetic...
Okay, white savior. Let's make the main character black and still shoot up the same amount of black people. Let's do that. Let's do that. I knew you were gonna fucking say some crazy shit like that, IGN. Fucking racist ass piece of shit. Go fuck yourself. Oh, so the white protagonist is in the game, so it's kind of bad to shoot black people, but if we put a black character shooting black people, black on black crime, then it's okay. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself, IGN.
Look at the Outbreak, the experience would simply be too divorced from the original to hold the name Resident Evil 5. So where does Capcom go now? Personally, I'd look backwards. Code Veronica is an ideal candidate, as is the original Resident Evil, but if the only way is chronologically forward, then a total...
I would like some fucking Project Veronica. Make her hot.
Rewrite of what comes next is the logical path, because what followed Resident Evil 4 was not one terrible game, but two. Resident Evil 6 tripled down on the action-packed, set-piece heavy shooter design, to the extent that much of it could be mistaken for a third-person Call of Duty spin-off.
Everybody agrees with this. We already fucking know this. Alright? We already know about Resident Evil 6 and how it was kind of bad. Alright? We already know this.
Were it not for the monsters. Its restrictive level design.
I like how he, at one moment, was like, yo, Capcom, you're bringing out bangers. Yo, Capcom, you're making too many remakes. You're making too many remakes. Hold up. You don't want to go to the area where you had the bad games. What if you, I don't know if you know how to make video games anymore. Capcom, do you know how to make video games with Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6? I wonder how you're gonna do it.
And practically puts you in a chokehold, forcing you to enjoy.
You're just a game journalist. You don't know how to make video games. That's what I'm saying.
Or a barrage of bombastic moments that have no interest in evoking any sense of fear. Resident Evil 6
Yo, that guy right there, I cried when his partner died.
is a survival horror,
Spoilers.
only in that it's a horrible game that you have to survive playing. But this time around, it doesn't have to be like that. Capcom now has the opportunity to ignore the past and completely...
Don't ignore the past. Don't listen to him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's from the UK. Listen, he's from the UK. All right. This man doesn't sound like he's ever struggled before in his life. Maybe that one time where that one girl rejected him.
reinvent this chunk of the timeline. In Resident Evil 4 Remake's post-credit scene, evil mastermind Albert Wesker details his plans for world domination to Ada Wong. Reflected in his glasses is an image of Excella Gione and the Stairway of the Sun, two significant plot elements from Resident Evil 5, which indicates Capcom's intentions. But there's more to consider. This scene is largely a replication of the sequence from Assignment Ada, a non-canon chapter from the original Resident Evil 4. Its shift from unofficial to canon points to a willingness to change. Furthermore, the end of this scene is completely rewritten. When learning of Wesker's plans, rather than dutifully deliver the stolen Las Plagas sample to him, Ada betrays her shadowy boss and forces her helicopter to turn around. In this moment, the future of Resident Evil becomes unclear. Capcom has given itself the freedom to do...
Nigga, I can see what you're saying, but do you really think that Albert Wesker is gonna, oh, Ada Wong betrayed me. Oh no. Bitch, I found you. Albert Wesker's like, oh no, didn't know that Ada Wong was gonna betray me. Gotcha, bitch.
do whatever it wants. I just hope it's not a remake of Resident Evil 5.
Yeah, well, that's just you. So, what is a game journalist? I mean, his words are worth nothing. So it doesn't really matter what he says. Capcom will do what it wants, and we appreciate it for what it is. Yeah. This guy should be fired. And that is my hard rant. I want to do a small little video right after this, though. 1 second.